I'm Max, welcome to LarpGuys and Beyond. So if you happen to have a Pontiac G6, your driver's headlight's probably out. And if it isn't, keep the car for a little while, it'll go out. There's something really wrong with these cars. They really screwed up. This driver's side wiring harness goes bad. But this isn't the only type of car I've seen with that problem, but these are pretty notorious for it. So I'm going to show you how to pull that headlight off, how to change out that wiring harness, and get both your headlights working again. Now, if you're having a problem with the passenger side, it'd be the same process, but the driver's side is usually the culprit on these cars. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, you're gonna need a ratchet, or a wrench, whatever. I believe it's 9/32 or a 6 metric. Either one of those should work. Just don't get too crazy and round off the bolts. And you're gonna need a flathead screwdriver or something to take these off with. We're gonna go ahead and start with these 2 screws that are over here, and nothing complicated about them. So once those are out, you're done with this. Switch over to your screwdriver. Now, if you care about your car and you don't want to mess it up, you might want to use, a different type of tool to get these out. I'm just using a flathead screwdriver. And there's a bunch of them. If you've never taken one of these out before, let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing. But all you're going to do, there's a clear area where the screwdriver would go into. We're just going to put it under there and twist, and then pull it out. If the top comes out but the bottom stays in, then just pry the bottom out. That's all. And then they just go back together. They only go one way, so it's pretty hard to mess it up. And we're just going to go ahead and pop them all out. Now, you might be able to get away with not doing all of them, but if you don't want to risk ripping your front fascia here, your bumper, then just take them all out. Make it a lot easier. From there, now this whole piece sort of will move. So let's take a look over here at this headlight again. So now this is loose. It's actually behind the bumper though, so I want to make sure you get a shot of this. So if you try to just pull it out, it won't come out because it's actually behind this plastic part. So you gotta pull this forward and then pull this past it. So be careful, but don't be too scared, because this does have a lot of give to it. Okay. Now, if this is the first time you're doing this, when you pull this off, it's going to make probably a loud pop or a cracking sound. Don't sweat it though. That's what they do. It's the piece coming off the inside that holds this on. Now, yes, theoretically you could break this. And what you would break if you do break it is this right here. So just be careful and try not to break anything. When you're done, we're going to put this on the same way. We're just going to make sure that that is lined up with right here. So now we got our headlight off. That's actually the really hard part. Now we need to see about adjusting this wiring harness. So went ahead, unscrewed this. Let me get you a better angle here. Went ahead and unscrewed that. Now we can take the bulb out. Okay, so bulb. Wear gloves when you do this in case you accidentally touch the bulb, because if you touch it, you're going to mess it all up. So the culprit here is this. It's this wiring harness. This is all burned out, completely trashed. So went ahead and we bought this part. Now Dorman also makes a part. If you can get the actual parts, that's fine, but this is a F90006. So that's your driver's side replacement. Now you can see that this is a 2-wire setup, but if you look in here, you're going to find that there's 3 wires. There's 2 black and a yellow. So you can take and you can cut these out, and then what you're going to do is take this harness that you got, and this is the side your bulb's going. Don't cut that. You're going to cut this side, and on here you'll take these 2 black wires, you'll wire them together, and they will go to the black wire that's inside this sleeve. The yellow wire will connect to the red one that's in this sleeve, and that'll fix it. Now that's if this thing is really jacked up. Now on mine, it's not that bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to use it as is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just plug it right into here, just as though it was the light bulb, which is actually what it was intended for, so you can see how that fits right in there. And then the bulb will just go right in here. Alright, so let me go ahead and flip the lights on and see if that lights up. Do this before you put it all back together, because if it doesn't work, you may need to do it, the opposite way. We're going to try to do it the easy way first and see if that works. Okay, so I'm off the hook easy. That worked for me. Do not touch this bulb. It will be hot as hell. All right, let me go ahead and turn my lights off. So, if that worked for you, fantastic. You're all done. Take this, put it all back together, call it a day. If not, then you're just going to have to clip these wires, wire them together. Not very hard to do. If you don't know what you're doing, ask at the auto parts store. They sell little connectors that you can just slide the wires into and crimp them shut with crimpers. Super easy to do. Wrap some tape around it and you're good to go. So hopefully you catch this before your socket gets completely melted and jacked up. But either way, now you know how to fix it. Let me go ahead and put this all back together. Just stuff all this wiring back down inside here. Twist the bulb back on. Twist this back on. Get our headlight back in place. Alright, make sure that all you have to do is make sure that one little connector slid in there. As long as that's in, everything else will line up, and then we just got to put it back together. But before I put it all back together, I'm going to check that light one more time just to make sure nothing got loose when I was doing that. It might be hard to see on the camera, but it is in fact lit up, so we're all set. Let me turn these off. So we're all set to go. Now I can go get my car inspected. And from here, it's just a matter of putting these 2 screws back in. Just make them hand tight, don't get too aggressive, don't break anything. So now to do this, the part for me was $9.99. After tax it was $10.24 at my local auto parts store. So your price may vary. You might be able to find one cheaper online if you go to a junkyard or something. And those prices might vary. But basically, if you're paying more than $10 for the part, you're getting ripped off. Do not pay more than 10 bucks for this part, okay? Or 10 bucks plus tax. So that's back on there. Nice. As far as these plastic clips, all you gotta do, you can either pull these tops out or you can just squeeze the bottom together. Make sure it's lined up with the holes. Push it in, and then just push that part down. Very, very easy. Your mechanic would have probably charged you and rounded up an hour for labor for this. Probably charged you $100 plus, you know, 30, 40 bucks for the part. You know, you're looking at, you know, if your mechanic is honest, maybe $75 to $100. If you go to a dealership, you know, you're looking at $100 to $150. Also, they may try to tell you your bulb's bad because these bulbs are like 50, 60 bucks. But if you have a bulb on a car like this, check that wiring harness because it very well may be the harness and not the bulb. So keep that in mind. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, go ahead and please like the video. You can subscribe to the channel. Don't post all that often, but when I do, I think it's valuable content. So if you got a Pontiac G6 that's approximately around this year age range, this is what you're going to need to do to go ahead and fix that driver's side light problem. Thanks for watching.